Record and record and give me 3 seconds of silence
to smile.
Yeah, and then
the clap. Yes. Okay, we got the clap. All right. Hello there, Packer Nation, and welcome to. Oh my God. Sorry, got to go into it. Stop. Professionals. We are professionals. Hello there, Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We are on to episode number 67, which I have entitled, Houston, They Have a Problem, because they stink. But hey, you play who's on your schedule, right? So I am Andrew Hetzel, and I am joined, as always, by my cohorts, Jeremy Hautala, Elliot Christensen. What's up, boys? We have the clap.
So for this debate, I have installed a mute button on each of your microphones.
I figured he would.
Especially on Andy's.
Listen, Jack.
Wait, no.
Oh, I can't go there. That's right.
Right.
What a bunch of malarkey. All right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, how you guys doing? Introduce yourselves, all that good stuff.
5-1 on the way to 15-1.
Yeah, I was gonna say to get to 15 wins, you got to get to 15-1. You got to lose one, right?
That's right.
Well, it's funny because I had a really weird dream last night, and this is on topic, so don't worry about it. But,
does it involve the clap?
No, it involves. It involves.
Was it a birthday dream?
It was, because my birthday dream is to be the Packers defensive coordinator. So,
wow, your sight's high, but
yeah. If you go low, you can't go any lower. So I'm just gonna go high and come down, But
there you go.
But yeah, so I had this weird dream that I don't know who was GM, but anyway, we fired Mike Pettin, and I came on board, and I had this grand scheme. I was talking all like I knew everything, and towards the end of the season, we didn't make the playoffs because our defense failed us. So I was like, this seems like this seems kind of like not that long ago. I think about 2017 or whatever, 2016. When our defenses have failed us. So I'm like, I'm going to be no better than Mike Pettin or Don Capers. So this dream sucks.
I get the feeling that in that dream you probably traded half the starters for two good defensive linemen, though, right?
Oh,
me. We only fielded 5 guys on the defense, but the defensive line was unstoppable.
As long as my defensive line and linebackers can make all the plays around I don't need anybody else. I need a front 7. I'm good.
Front 7 minus 4. We're good. All right.
We're good.
You guys talk a lot of smack for a 5-1 team.
Hey. Is for horses, as my dad. Wow. Okay, we are on top of our game, whatever the hell that means. So, Packers bounce back from the blowout loss to the Bucs by dismantling. I'm going to call them hapless. I think I used that with the Falcons, but the Texans are really going nowhere. Dismantling the hapless Houston Texans on the road by a score of 35-20. And I have as the initial notes here, the Packers were pretty banged up. The injury report was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, considering it was just a game after the bye. But coming into this, I had 5 starters out, I think. And then Davante Adams, man, he put on a show, had almost 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers had 4 TDs, no INTs. And the defense actually showed up for this game, I would say. The opponent, like I said, I don't think the Texans are very good. We were going up against their interim coach, Romeo Crennel. What a name, Romeo Crennel. All right, stay on target. So they canned Bill O'Brien, what was it, a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
Bill O'Brien, or Romeo Crennel's the interim coach, and 2 guys from the Bill Belichick tree that couldn't coach their way out of a paper bag, I would say, but whatever. They have some players, I guess, on either. Deshaun Watson, I think, is a pretty good quarterback. I don't think he's played particularly all that well, given how talented he is. But they also traded away his best, one of, if not the best wide receiver in the game, Bill O'Brien, and got back basically like a sack of rocks and a running back for him. I don't know what the hell that was all about.
Well, and he's the most sacked quarterback in the past 2 years, so he's not getting a lot of protection down there, which goes into my point of we had the most pressures on any quarterback this year until yesterday. So we had about a dozen pressures where we were actually in Watson's face.
Okay. And I mean, overall, from what I've seen, we have our pressures are way down from last year.
Yeah.
So it's definitely good to see, especially against he's definitely a mobile quarterback. You can just tell he's athletic as hell. And, the team, I think it's pretty safe to say that team is essentially rudderless. I don't think Romeo Crennel's the answer. And they got J.J. Watt, who, I don't really put a note here, but there's rumors that the Packers might try to trade for him. That isn't going to happen. I mean, would that be all fine and dandy? Sure, but you'd have to give up a ton for him. And, he's not what he used to be a few years ago. He's had a lot of injuries of late, so, I mean, he's one of their still good players, I guess you could say, but, they were 1-5 coming in. They're now 1-6. It's, I guess the Packers kind of did what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. That's basically the way I looked at it.
Well, and this is a Texan team that Bill O'Brien, who they just fired, was actually their GM/coach. And he has probably single-handedly destroyed that organization in
like less than 2 years. He just destroyed it.
Traded everybody away.
What the hell?
And then when he traded away Jadeveon Clowney to Seattle last year, I mean, he traded for chump change. They got like a third-round or second-round draft pick for him. So he has single-handedly destroyed that organization, and they're going to be, a not-so-good team for the foreseeable future. It's not looking good down there.
Well, he might be the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys if McCarthy keeps losing.
Ooh.
They might switch roles. He might be the coach of the Texans.
Dinner rolls?
Dinner rolls.
Because they're both fatties? No, I don't know. Elliot, I hear growing.
Which one fits inside of the other one?
Oh, the nesting doll? Well, I will say that Bill O'Brien, he's got a little bit of like a double chin, but he's not as big as McCarthy. That's for sure. So Bill O'Brien would be in. My God, it's rare where I even stop myself, but I'm going to stop myself. Okay. All right. Offense. So the Packers scored once again on their first possession of the game. And I mean, they've been a machine to start the season. I don't think they've scored on the first possession in every game, but they've done it in 5 out of the, in every one but one. I can't remember what it was, but they've started really well on offense, and they, again, it's the Texans, but they did it again this time. That's always good to see because, how many times in the past would you see the Packers score on their opening possession? It seemed pretty rare, even under Aaron Rodgers, which is odd to say, but that was good to see, especially after a big letdown game against the Bucs. Last thing you wanted to see was a freaking 3-and-out or something like that. Now they were missing on offense Aaron Jones, Alan Lazard, Tyler Ervin, and David Bhaktiari. I mean, you could argue, at a minimum, Aaron Jones and David Bhaktiari are Pro Bowl / All-Pro, if you will. And Alan Lazard, he's undrafted, but he was having a solid year. He's definitely playing above his pay grade. And Tyler Ervin is key to them in a lot of the pre-snap motion and whatnot. And I think he's even the return guy. So the fact that they still kind of dominated with having those guys out was definitely good to see. I think that the Bakhtiari thing was probably more in line with what they did with Davante Adams against Atlanta, where they held him out. Probably could have played if it was a very, very important game, but they're like, you're going up against the Texans.
So do you guys think that is due to so I think that obviously the team is more talented than the Texans, like even Steven, but they were so dominant. Do you think that that's scheme? Do you think that was like just smart play calling, or everything?
I think it's everything. The one thing, and that's a good segue. This is a little further down the list, but Davante Adams went out for almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He destroyed them, but when you look at how they covered him, they let him do whatever the hell he wanted. It was with Aaron Jones being out, they're like, he's the guy. And they gave him free release. They weren't, half the time they weren't even doubling him. And what you see other teams do and what has happened to us is they take away Davante Adams. And in this game, it looked like they barely even tried, which is a result of, I guess, scheme and not having good play. Probably a combination, but it made no sense to me. I'll take it as a Packers fan, but geez Louise.
Yeah, I think schematically, did it help that we, out executed them? Yeah, but I mean, we were just a better team in offense. I mean, their secondary that's why they were playing real soft, because they don't have a lot of confidence in their guys. They've lost all their secondary from last year, so they're pretty much starting starting over. So the better team won. It's just like last week.
I agree with that.
I firmly believe the Bucs were the better team than us, even though we started out the game, up 10-0. That just happens sometimes where the better team wins. Sometimes a team just plays a phenomenally great game and beats a team that they shouldn't beat. But I didn't see that happening yesterday. But, I guess I was really proud of how they responded, because in years past, when they've had a really tough loss, they've been a little sluggish coming back from it. And they didn't, I mean, were they great yesterday? No. But were they just on point to where they could beat the Texans? Yes.
I completely agree with that. And I'd say, because if you look at Aaron Rodgers, kind of a weird, he had 4 touchdowns and no picks, and he was good. I wouldn't say he was great, though, because he was like, his mechanics were kind of wonky. He was throwing on his back foot.
His touch was off.
And his touch was off. He, even on the long touchdown to Davante Adams, Davante's lucky he caught that. He got all turned around on that route. It wasn't a very good throw. And there were a couple other throws that the one to Tanyan, it was a deep seam route, if I remember. It was like a 30-yard route. And if he had a better throw, probably would have caught it in stride for a touchdown. Yeah. And it ended up being a really good catch, but it was much more of a good catch than a good throw. He was good, but he was still kind of off. I was surprised with how much he was throwing off his back foot and stuff like that, which his mechanics had seemed to be a lot better this year. So it was weird to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But actually, that's an interesting point, though, Elliot, when you talk about how much, were we that much better? It makes me think, in the NFL, they say that the difference between the very best team and the worst team, they're still pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say. But then you wonder if the talent margin is so slim between the best and the worst, if you happen to be a pretty bad team and you're just it's so close that if you pull them down even a notch from that, that's how bad a team can look. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like the gap that's supposedly that close in the parity between the whole league.
Right.
But if
they underperform and the Packers overperform.
If they don't have the players, they fired the coach, they're not going anywhere. You can tell some of these guys are mailing it in. And it's one thing you can't do in the NFL, you can't mail it in. That's how teams, Lefluer said it. He goes, if you don't show up, you get your ass handed to you. You don't just lose, you get your butt you get your butt kicked. Yeah. It's not like it's not like a baseball game where you're sometimes the not as good a team wins, or even on it's not the best analogies, but in the NFL, geez, if you don't show up, you're going to get killed. You're going to get destroyed.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, because week in, week out, we go back to last year against San Diego. Did we show up to that game? No, and we got kicked by a two-win team.
Yes.
So, like you said, if you don't show up, any team can beat you. This is professional sports. These are professional athletes. They do have some pride. To the Texans yesterday, they look like a team that's been beaten down and just wants to go home. Yeah, they're dealing with a lot internally, and it showed out in the field yesterday. You could see J.J. Watt, who's always an emotional leader of that team.
He was his body language and everything. I even heard they played some interviews this morning on sports radio. They had a clip of J.J. Watt getting interviewed by the local beat reporters down in Houston after the game. And it's for a guy like J.J. Watt, who's the poster boy of the NFL, and he's all this aw shucks and, really not, he was giving 1-word answers, and he's just he's done. He is done in Texas, which you can't really blame him, though, because it almost sounds like Bill O'Brien got fired almost immediately after J.J. Watt called him out at a practice. He was basically you don't know what the fuck you're doing. so we won't get restricted. It's like, you don't know. Dang it. I don't want to be restricted. You don't want to be.
Yeah, if you let one fly, you got to let me know the approximate time on the clock.
About 14:55.
Yeah, and we'll just put in a note. Andy gets passionate in this one. Please don't mistake my my swearing for nothing. I'm just being passionate.
Did you let one fly?
Yeah.
You did?
I did. I'm sorry. Yeah. It was when I was. JJ Watt basically said to Bill O'Brien.
I already have it tagged.
He's like you suck, and they had like a little mutiny, and they ended practice, and then like Bill O'Brien got fired like the next day or something like that. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel bad for JJ Watt? Not really, but you know, it's because he went to Wisconsin. He has that connection. Blah blah.
Yeah.
But that, and look, would I like to have him? Darn tootin', but it ain't happening. So, anywho, going back to offense. Oh, so this was one of my favorite plays of the Matt Lefluer era. The play where Jace Sternberger caught that short TD on the goal line.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of leaked out. That was beautiful. And actually, it looked easy, but the throw that Rodgers had, he had to like corral it with one hand and kind of knock it down and bring it in. It wasn't like the easiest of plays, but it was a perfect call on a play that I don't think we've seen out of the Lefluer offense at all. And typically they really struggle on the goal line, you know?
Well, I mean, Sternberger was open because of the motion by Jamal Williams. Yep. Two guys went with him, and they just plugged him right in the hole. Yeah. It was perfect.
It was so cool.
It was, and let's hope that leads those little things, baby steps, lead to more things with him, because he's still the most athletic, got the most upside in the tight end position on the team. But that was great to see. So I made a specific note about that because. Do you think here's an interesting thing? Do you think we'd ever see that kind of play with McCarthy?
Where we scheme a guy open? No.
Just that play in general, something like
no.
I don't. Yeah.
No.
Oh,
I don't think so
either. Yes. Have you seen what they've been doing down in Dallas? It's lights out.
They've been pooping their pants.
You know, that is
I was gonna say something else,
that,
but I don't want to be restricted. So
you know, that was really a bad analogy, considering that the quarterback was knocked out yesterday.
I know.
That was so bad.
Bad taste. Bad taste.
No empathy.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, I know.
But then, did you see the offensive line was?
It is the Cowboys.
I know. They like looked at him on the ground. They're like, "Well, that sucks to be you," and they like walked away from him.
Yeah.
My
You're like,
goodness.
Next.
I know, really. Did you see that hit though? That was a brutal hit. His helmet came off, and it's like, those are the kind of hits where it's like when he hit the ground, I think he was knocked out for a split, like completely out for a split second.
Was he?
He had to have been, because he just felt like a sack of potatoes, and then he kind of got up, and it was like,
those are hot. I don't know. Sometimes those are hard to tell. Sometimes they look worse than they are, and
that one looked bad.
That was brutal.
It was helmet to helmet, and his head moved back, and his helmet came off after it. Like,
I know. Ugh. Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes I think it's like crumple zones on a car. If the helmet comes off, maybe that means it wasn't so bad. Honestly, like
crumple zones.
That's good. I don't know.
Crumple zones on the pads. Freaking, they blast into like airbags are going off. It'd be great.
One of these times we're gonna say something funny, and you're gonna regret naming the episode ahead of time.
Ooh.
So you're saying you want to call this crumple zones?
I'm just saying that it's a possibility.
I don't know what's going on. Okay. We got a decent look. To be honest with you, I'm going to have to defer most of this one to Jeremy, but we got a decent look at rookie AJ Dillon this game, and he seemed to be okay. How many times he touched the ball? Half a dozen, maybe more?
5 times.
5 times? Okay.
5 times for 11 yards.
He didn't rip anything off really big. He's a big guy, but
oh man,
he hits. I think a guy like him. I'm trying to think like who's a runner right now in the league or in the past few years that we could compare him to. He almost reminds me of like a Jerome Bettis or something. He's just a big battering ram guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know if you remember back to the day, but Rodney Hampton from the New York Giants, he reminded me so much. He was just a physical, big guy. You couldn't take him down with one arm, one guy, much less. And that's the thing with Dillon that really, I'm not showing any bias, but I am biased towards him. I love the guy.
You contradicted yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not showing any bias, but I am biased.
But I am biased. Yeah.
He wasn't showing it. He wasn't showing any bias, but he wanted to disclose it nonetheless.
There you go. No, I just.
What?
I
just.
just.
Agent?
Shut up.
I mean, I think I'm good for 10%.
10%.
Let the man talk.
Okay, where was I?
AJ Dillon.
I'm not biased. I'm not biased, but I am biased.
Yeah, I don't really.
No, I've seen so much tape of his Boston College days, and he just reminds me of Earl Campbell. Like, just battering ram. You can't take him down, and he just gets that tough yard every single time. And he falls forward. I know yesterday on a couple of his carries, he got hit right at the line of scrimmage, and but most of the time, whenever he's getting tackled, he's falling forward.
Yeah, he's not.
So he's always gaining that yard. Right. He's always gaining that extra yard or two just because of his momentum and his strength. So I think as we go along here, I mean, I've been hoping since the first game that.
Yeah, I know. Every time they get to the goal line, you're like, "Hey, here's
Dillon time, and I'm like,
it'd be great where they're like, "Hey, it's 1 yard," then they bring somebody in, but they bring in Jordan Love instead.
Well, they
bring in Jordan Love to do a QB sneak or something. That'd be awesome.
He'd have to be active first off. So,
woo, zinger. Yeah, it's pretty good. I look at Dillon, and the first thing I think is like he looks like he is obviously not afraid of contact, that he smashes into people, but man, he's going to have a short career if he doesn't. He's going to get the hell beat out of him. So it's like you almost hope that he at one point starts to like not seek out contact.
That was the concern with him coming into the league, was because he averaged around over 300 touches at Boston College. Mind you, they only played 12 games in college. Yeah. So, they were real concerned that his ceiling has been met just because of all the pounding that he took there. So we'll see what he can do. But Jonathan Taylor too from Wisconsin was another guy who received the ball a ton last year and the year before and the year before that. And he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. So that's the only concern that they had with Dillon was his, the amount of pounding he took in college.
Yeah.
And that's why he dropped to the
and that he really didn't do anything in terms of like pass catching. He didn't catch any screens or anything. He's just a running back.
I think he had about 20 to 25 catches his whole 3-year career. So,
I mean, they're moving more towards just a straight up run offense. So it's not like it's like something you have to have, but obviously under the McCarthy era, it's like if you were going to be a running back, the most important thing first was like pass protection. Then
yes,
and
being able to catch the ball in the backfield too.
So sticking with running backs, I put this little note in here. It's now I'm showing my bias.
Go away, son.
Yeah. Jamal Williams might be the most underrated player on the Packers roster.
Yeah,
he's perfect for his role. He's very good at. I love watching him play. And did you see that hit early in the game where like his helmet? It was helmet to helmet, and his helmet flew off, and it's just like he takes a lot of shots, but he's just I don't know. He's one of my favorite current players because he's got a goofy personality, but he's just really good at what he does. He's very dependable and consistent. Very, it's like with even someone like every now and then, like with Aaron Jones or even Davante, it's like sometimes they get shut down. It's like, when's the last time you go, man, Jamal Williams had a bad game? It's like, he's solid as hell. So they're probably going to lose him after this year. I mean, somebody's going to pay him a lot of money. You got to pay Jones over him, but he's fun to watch. I like him.
I will really hate to see him go. Think about that. You're talking about that hit yesterday.
He's a lunch pail kind
lunch
of
pail guy. He is.
Love that phrase.
When he gets his helmet knocked off yesterday, he gets up and he jumps around like he won the Super Bowl. I mean, how many guys do that?
Yeah.
It's really.
I mean, they show him like dancing and like doing his little routines and and all that.
It's so good to see the energy because we have not had that kind of energy for a while here.
Yeah,
so to see somebody with that positivity and his charisma, I thoroughly enjoy watching that guy. I really do. I think you bring up a great point.
Agreed. So the offensive line held up remarkably well, given they were missing their all-pro left tackle. Billy Turner got the start or Bobby Turner, as what's his face, the color commentator called him like half a dozen times.
Jonathan Wilma.
Yeah. He got to start over. I thought it was going to be, they were going to slide over Jenkins to left tackle. I think everybody thought that.
Well, I thought Bill Wagner or Rick Wagner would.
Really, I thought they were going to actually move Jenkins. Just part of it was just to see how he'd do at left tackle. To be like, okay, this guy's good at guard. You did this. Can you do this? Because it's like, can you imagine if you slid over Jenkins and he's looks almost better at left tackle? You'd be like, maybe we don't have to re-sign Bhaktiari. I don't know. I mean, crazy tinfoil hat conspiracies. But he played great. Now, I don't know how formidable the defensive line outside of J.J. Watt is, or J.J. Watt the Houston Texans have, but Rodgers was basically untouched. And I was just pleasantly surprised with how well Turner played. And I guess from what I've seen and heard online that he's played better in his stints at tackle than guard. So I get they did kind of bring him in to be like a jack of all trades kind of guy, but then they stuck him at guard. But he played better at right tackle and right guard, I think. And the fact that you can stick him at left tackle in a pinch kind of like that is, I guess that's a good sign. I mean, he's not going to.
Yeah, it only helps them, And if you think about this, most of your pressures, most of your quarterback hits come from the tackle position. Anybody that's rushing outside of the tackle, and they only had one quarterback hit yesterday. The Texans did, so that's a phenomenal job of keeping Aaron Rodgers up, and clean. So considering we didn't have our best offensive lineman yesterday, and that's what we produced, kudos.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, who is that right tackle?
Bill Wagner, or why do I keep on saying Bill Wagner?
Ricky Wagner?
Ricky Wagner, yeah.
Okay. And I honestly was paying more attention to Billy Turner, but Wagner seemed to hold up pretty well too.
Yeah, he got a little help here and there, but I mean he was blocking JJ Watt a lot. So they saw that weakness over there, and that's where they had JJ Watt for the majority of the snaps.
Yeah. JJ Watt is like, remember, I'll tell you what, I mean, he's past his prime now. He's not like he's bad, but he's a step below where he used to be. But man, in his prime, that guy, he was the white Reggie White.
Yeah, right.
I remember looking at some, like the way he would just toss aside tackles, the way Reggie White would do with that armbar thing. It wasn't even fair. I mean, it's just, crazy.
In his heyday, he was unblockable, just like Reggie White was.
Yeah, it was
great.
I mean, he was just incredible, like how quick, just everything, just. Okay. And then, it's the last kind of note here. I already talked about a little bit, was how I had no idea what the Texans secondary was doing against Davante Adams, because they were basically just letting him run free. They weren't. I didn't see a whole lot of doubling. I saw a little bit of zone here and there, but they weren't even like bumping him off on the release. It was just like, okay, I'll tell you what. If you're going to do that, he's going to kill you.
Yeah, and he did. And he did on his second touchdown, the 45-yarder that he had. I mean, you watch the play or the replay on TV, and the safety just totally vacated, and then Adams went right where he vacated. It was like, wait, you're singling him over the middle. That doesn't make any sense to me. And guess what? Touchdown. So,
I mean,
kudos.
Yeah, I think he's a top 3 wide receiver. I said top 5. He might be top 3. I mean, so who is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now?
Oh, you're asking that question?
Yeah, just kind of throwing out there. It's just because I guess what I'm getting at is it's almost like I think it's like the top 3 are almost like interchangeable in a way. It's like could take this guy, and so I'm saying he could be the best, right up there as best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, and there's so many guys that have been underperforming. The first guy that came to my mind was Odell Beckham, but ever since he moved to Cleveland, he's been just
tore his ACL. Did you hear about
he tore his ACL too,
right.
So he's out for the season. But like, who's the best receiver? Like, I don't know. I mean,
it might be him.
You hear, well, I was going to say him, but you hear, DeAndre Hopkins, who was involved with his Texan team last year and got traded in the offseason. He had a big game last night against Seattle, which they beat Seattle. So, I'd have to throw him up there, and I'd probably throw Davante Adams at number 2.
Yeah, and I think Hopkins and Adams you could basically flip a coin.
Well,
Hopkins I don't think is that much better.
And I say that with Michael Thomas not playing right now. You know, if Michael Thomas is playing and he's playing up to his form, he's number one, hands down. And then probably,
Was he what round pick was he? Do you know anything about him?
Who?
Thomas?
Michael Thomas, I think he was a second round pick.
Okay.
Out of Ohio State.
Because Antonio Brown, the Bucks picked up Antonio Brown. How about that? Now, what round pick was Brown? He was a mid-round pick.
He was like a fourth or fifth rounder.
And I think he was that because he had some
some head problems.
He would have been a first or second round pick had he not, right?
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah,
he really behaved himself in Pittsburgh. It was when he left that.
Well, his last season, he just, I don't know what happened. Like, personally, I think he's just got some emotional issues that he's not getting help with, because what guy is at the top of his game and then just totally deflates when you have all that talent without any problem? No, there's a problem.
I mean, Andy.
He's talking about Andy McDowell, not me. She's past her prime.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, nice. That's a good zinger there. But I'll tell you, I guess what I'm saying with Adams is it's like if you give Adams an inch, he's going to get a yard. You know what I mean?
Easy.
He's one of those guys where, and I think with him and Rodgers, if you don't double him or disrupt him off the line or constantly give safety help and all these things, if you give him that one time, you single him up, he's going to kill you.
Right. And I think that can be a detriment, though. I think they are so used to his dominance that they take that for granted. And then, like when he went down, and they still are 7-0 without him. But you always think, wow.
That is so weird, isn't it?
It is.
It doesn't seem right.
And you would think that when your best player, your best receiver goes down, that the team is going to just, tank. And they don't. It's really, really weird.
Yeah. No, he's I was actually, this is funny because I'm a glutton for punishment and I was also in a coma. I forgot how poor his second season was.
Oh, yes.
First season, he was kind of nondescript. He was a rookie and he started to come on a little bit in the end. But then the second season, we're like, this is going to be the big jump. And he was hurt. I know that. He was hurt worse than I think people let on. But he was brutal. And to turn himself around the way he did and get that much better is pretty damn impressive. It's good to see. I'm glad we got him, man.
Yeah.
He's just, off the line.
Okay, that's where he is the best receiver.
It is just, I know. That's what I was going to say. He doesn't have blazing speed, but he might be the quickest twitch wide receiver I've ever seen.
His
it is just
feet. He should.
And just how the quick twitch, as they call it. It's unbelievable. I remember Greg Jennings in his prime was pretty damn good. He's better than Greg Jennings.
Davante Adams should be able to win any Michael Jackson impersonation, hands down.
Nice. But yeah, that he will break ankles off the line, and then even at the top of the route, or when there's going to be those he'll break ankles at the top of the route too, not just off the line. It is just, whoo, boy.
He's a good one.
Yeah. All right. Defense.
Do we?
Yeah. Well, I put here, the defense actually played pretty well this game. I said the final score wasn't as close as it ended up being in the end. 35-20 is about right, but the Texans got beat worse than that.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was probably more like 35-10, if not even something like that. But Preston Smith finally showed up. This was easily his best game of the season. He had that great stop on fourth down where he sniffed out the little sneak by Jackson.
Watson.
I'm Jackson. Michael Jackson you were just talking about.
Yeah.
That was me. That was me doing an impression of Michael Jackson doing his little hee and then getting tackled.
Ooh.
Anyway, I think there's a gas leak in my house. Smells like rotten eggs in here. What's going on? But I mean, look, he had been invisible, damn near. So he actually made his presence felt. That was his best play, in my opinion. but he actually had a couple good run stops, and I think he got some pressures. Which, hey, I mean, I guess when you're kind of at zero, if all you can go is up, good to see.
I'm gonna let you two speak about the defense because I came into this episode thinking that I'm gonna be the absolute positive podcast part of it. So I'm gonna stay positive on the offense. Defense, you guys can handle that all by yourselves.
Oh my! See, so you're biased.
And I'm his agent.
Hey, I didn't say they were great. I mean, they still had, but they were. Let me put it this way: I put that they basically showed up.
There you go.
That's the superlative, right?
There you go.
But they showed up against a 1-5 team, so it's not, as my dad would say, I'm not out here throwing bouquets at everyone. That's that phrase. And then look, I put this as a bullet point because I'm so proud of it. Mike Pettin looks like a Florida retirement community version of the Batman villain Bane. Discuss. No, when they went to the side. Actually, I was surprised he was down on the sideline. I thought he was going to be up in the booth, but he was down on the sideline, and then he had the mask on, and that's why I was just like, okay, it looks like Bane. Anyway, but isn't he normally up in the booth?
No, this year he's been the sideline every game.
Oh, and I only just noticed now.
That's
Really
who he
big.
is. You just don't even notice him until.
Kamal Martin got his first snaps this season coming off the, I guess you call it the short-term IR. Looked pretty darn good. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to come out and just take over the game. He missed. How can you? You're being a rookie and doing all this, but from what I did see, I think he's pretty good. And
Hey, like you said, a rookie coming out with no training camp, 1 week of practice, literally, and to not be a weakness out there, kudos.
I would say he was solid.
Right.
He
what
wasn't a
he's meant.
liability. He didn't
No.
get pushed around.
And he made some good tackles, just some hard physical tackles.
Yeah.
I think he had
You know what?
6 tackles in the game. So
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the inside linebacker position. Kamal Martin got his first snaps, looked good. Let's hope he continues to ascend. But what else can you say there? So special teams. I think, did we kick 1 field goal? I believe it was 1.
Nope.
17 field goals. 18.
No, it's 30. We kicked.
Oh, I'm thinking of next
No,
week.
we went
against the
35 to
Vikings.
20. We had 5 touchdowns.
God, you're right. I was thinking it was 30. It was 35 to 20. I was thinking it was 30 to.
Elliott dreams that Mason Crosby kicks 17.
That's right.
field goals.
That's right. 5 touchdowns. You're right. Okay. So
But
scratch that.
wait, does he still get paid if he doesn't have to kick?
Wouldn't that be funny if it came out like they bounced? He went to Associated Bank, tried to cash the check or tried to deposit it, and the damn
They're
thing.
like, I'm sorry.
God.
And they're like, it bounced.
It's
They basically arrest him for trying to deposit like $1 million game check, and it bounces. Oh Lord. Okay. So special teams did not have a very good day. The kicking.
I love you, Mason. I love you.
J.K. Scott, not really his fault, but he had a punt blocked, and you can't really blame Scott for that. The guy came in free because Dexter Williams, our third string running back, biffed his assignment. And it had been 2 years since a blocked punt, so that I think they went 3 and out. The defense.
But think about this.
Yeah, that was weird.
It wasn't a traditionally blocked punt. He kicked the ball into the guy's back.
How do you do that?
Literally.
It looked weird. I didn't even know what happened at first.
Yeah. Because J.K. Scott was so focused on making sure that the ball to foot, whole thing was in motion.
Yeah.
It's quite a ritual for kickers, yeah.
Right. He literally was in such a concentration mode that he kicked the ball off the defender's back, and it was honestly I chuckled. I was like, that is funny. Because usually the punter gets annihilated,
Right.
and he didn't.
Yeah, that's a good point. And because I think the defender was so surprised how free he was able to come, he was kind of like one of those moves or whatever. But yeah, Dexter Williams, he's got a lot of talent, a lot of upside, but I don't know how long he's going to be for the team because he's made some boneheaded errors, that's for sure.
A guy like him, you have to be a stalwart on special teams just to get your foot in the door.
And yeah, and if you're pulling junk like that, you're in deep trouble.
Yep.
So I don't know. And then the onside kick at the end. Hey,
how hard is it to fall on a
2014
ball?
all again.
How hard is it to fall
How hard is it? Obviously, it's pretty hard.
It's not because usually they have it.
I must say this: it is
most of the time they're not successful this year.
When you see like
it's
huge,
not.
when you see huge like humongously strong grown men just absolutely flail over themselves to try and catch a football bouncing around, it is silly looking. And then when they have like the alternate camera angle and they slow it down, and you see like a 250-pound just muscled up guy, and he's trying to go for the ball, and it just goes doink. It's like
right. No, I get it.
It is funny as hell to watch, but you're just like,
of course, it's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
But
it is funny looking.
I mean, it is coming this way. We're all over here, just fall forward.
I know.
Yeah.
But
actually, this is the first thing that the three of us are going to do when COVID is done. We're going to actually go out and have somebody kick balls to us, and we're all going to try to field them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And we're going to see how easy it is.
Onside kick, or are we talking?
Yeah,
kickoffs?
onside kick. Oh, onside kick.
Okay.
Yep. With 11, we'll just get some jarheads from
jarheads,
you know, and
equally out of shape.
Equally jarheaded.
Equally jarheaded.
I thought jarheads were like Marines.
I know. I was going to say the same thing.
I don't want to be going up.
Okay,
against
true.
any
Marines. I know. I don't want to have. I don't want to have to like. Are we allowed to have guns if they are? Jarhead, they're going to be showing up with M16s. I'll literally be going to a gunfight with a knife. Show up with my little rubber knife or whatever.
I'll be hiding under the pile of leaves.
The pile of leaves.
Well, I'm just imagining we're in a field. There's probably a pile of leaves.
No, we do that. I see. We'd have to do this at Titletown, right at that football field.
Yeah,
we'd have to like
there you go.
Push everybody back. Be like, we're going to try and field this onside kick.
Yep.
Make a
okay, but so yes, could I do it? Hell no. But I'm also not. I'm not on the team. I've not been practicing for years to do this, and other teams are successfully doing it. Like this onside kicks have not been working this year.
Nothing is worse. I mean, I almost said nothing is worse. I mean, obviously the Bostic thing was the worst of all time, but
yeah,
second was probably the game this year, Dallas and Atlanta, where they just let it.
Yeah.
The overhead view, like it almost looked like a drone that was falling, and they're just standing there. Oh my God.
Honestly, there's no excuse for the offense to get the ball without much trouble because the kicking team can't. Just like on kickoffs, you can't get a running head start.
Exactly. And they purposely make it very hard for the kicking team to be able to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's really no excuse for it.
All right. Well, that's about it for what I got for this game. I think, speaking of onside kicks, and Dallas, we could segue into a little discussion of one Michael McCarthy down in Dallas. Man alive. They're down to the third string quarterback. McCarthy, what are they, 2-6?
So
not 2-5.
So is Andy Dalton out for the next game?
Might be. I mean, depends on the concussion protocol, but he took a vicious hit.
See, I guess I didn't know it was that bad.
It was bad. It was bad.
He was knocked out cold.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to keep him out for this game because, just to be on the safe side.
I mean, he wasn't playing great, but if you're down, look, and this is where I'll like kind of be like in defense of McCarthy. If you're literally on your third string quarterback, you're in trouble.
Well, we were. I remember that.
Exactly.
That
I mean,
very clearly.
Look, if Aaron Rodgers got hurt and we had to put in Tim Boyle, we're not going anywhere. Sorry.
That's right. Right.
So, I mean, he was down to his third string quarterback. Now, what is crazy to watch though is, I mean, you got stuff leaking out about how players are like they're saying they're horrible coaches, and I mean we're not even like halfway into the first season as a coach, but
right.
But their defense is like it's looking all time bad. Like the amount of it's that bad, man.
they've spent a lot of money on that defense, and they're getting $1 worth of production from it.
And I mean, look here. Jerry Jones has been the GM and owner for how many since Jimmy Johnson left? Right?
That's your problem right there.
Yeah, I agree, and it's the fact. I sit here and say the fact that he doesn't know that or can't recognize that is stunning. But when your ego is the size of the stadium you play in, I guess anything's possible.
Right. When the team owner and his son lead the team, I don't know. If they have any football sense, then they should be okay. But these two, obviously, their football sense it's just not there. It's in an oil field. It's literally in an oil field.
Nice. Now, riddle me this. Who was the last GM that the Cowboys had before Jerry Jones appointed himself GM? And I must say, I have no idea. I was wondering if any of you guys did.
Well, and when was last time? I mean, were they good? I mean, because they haven't been very good for a while.
I was gonna say Tony Romo only won one playoff game in his entire.
So now that you're saying this is interesting to me. Now, I want to do some deep dive on this. I didn't realize that. I guess I probably heard that before, but I didn't really put that together.
It was fun. I mean, it's so bad there right now that after I think it was a post game show where Tony Gonzalez and even Howie Long after the Packer game. And they were like, look, America's team, the Cowboys, they're one of the shining jewels of the NFL. They're one of the biggest markets, blah, blah. And he straight up said, I was surprised almost, Howie Long he goes, I think we've just been giving, and we are giving Dallas too much of its own due. And the fact that they said that, I was almost surprised, but I was just like, wow.
Okay, to answer your question, Jerry Jones has been the de facto general manager from 1989 to 2020. And actually, I was going to guess this. Jimmy Johnson from 89 to 93 was actually the player personnel director as well as coach.
Okay. So he acquired. I mean, he's responsible. You could say he's responsible for Troy Aikman in a way. I mean, first round.
Because they traded away Herschel Walker for all of their draft picks from the Vikings, and then that's what built the Cowboys.
That's right. My God. And Herschel Walker, where did he go? Vikings.
They literally traded away all of their draft picks, which I think was 7 or 8 draft picks for Herschel Walker.
That's right.
And there was somebody else that did that too.
Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. I mean, all those guys.
Eric Williams. They got everybody. And also, Mike Ditka did that in New Orleans when they traded for Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he came to the press conference wearing the dread wig. Remember that?
Yep.
What a freaking lunatic.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. The draft that had Troy Aikman had Tony Mandrich, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Those are the bookend Hall of Famers. It was
Deion Sanders.
Oh my word!
Let's just not go there. That's just bad.
That's a sore subject.
Bad memory.
But yeah, I mean, so here's just a straight up question for you. Do you think if the Dallas continues to lose, even if they don't lose big, but if they just continue to lose, given their injuries and quarterback and yada yada yada, do you think he makes it through the season?
I think with their injuries, yeah, he does. Yeah. I mean, they're so banged up.
Well, so there's my follow-up question though. He makes it through the season. Does he get fired at the end of the season?
I mean, it's hard to say that right now, but I would put money
I think it's a
down.
50-50 shot he gets canned in season. I'm telling you.
How do you get a new coach and then fire him within one season?
If it's truly as bad internally as things are leaking out,
that's all fake news.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thought that too, but if there's even like a hint of, if Jeremy, you've even said, if you lose the locker room, you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually the Cowboys have also set themselves up where like the players have the cushy relationship with the owner. They can he loves his guys and all that. It's like, so they almost feel like emboldened to just be like, to hell with the coach. I'm going right to Jerry. And that's such a screwy thing that undermines whatever coach you have.
Super weird.
That's right.
You know, so I could definitely see like 5 guys walking up to Jerry being like, McCarthy doesn't know anything.
That's worse than the triangle of authority.
Ooh.
The Bermuda Triangle. Yeah.
Or whatever you called it. I mean,
it's the quadrilateral.
Quadrilateral authority.
Quadrilateral authority. Yeah.
That's way better than a triangle.
It's the rhombus of authority. Right?
Rhombus.
Yeah. Isosceles. What the heck was I going to say? But yeah, it's. Oh, this is what I was going to say. So somebody, I think it was on one of those like talk shows, sports talk shows, kind of like First Take or whatever, which I never watched, but I was watching one about this guy, and it was they were talking about. They go, Mike McCarthy was studying film up in Wisconsin in his year off, and it's like he goes, we should have known that it wasn't going to work out when it turns out that he was just sitting in a barn in Appleton, Wisconsin, watching film on his year off.
God,
how's that going to prepare you to coach the Cowboys?
Oh my God!
And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
That's what he was doing.
I know. It's like when they showed the little clips when they made the little like rehabilitation reclamation project with Tom Pelissero for him, and they showed him like in his house like going over like all, and it's like the guys he was surrounding him with were like the who's who of has-beens. It wasn't like young offensive or NFL minds in there. I think Jim Haslett was one of his guys. I was like, oh no, what are you doing, Mike? He's like, we got analytics. I got spreadsheets, and I have to print them out, but I got them now.
I have a guy that prints them for me.
Oh my God! When you hear about guys like that, they're like, I have somebody print out my emails for me. You're like, ah!
Then I have another guy read them to me.
I know. Like, jeez. Like, well, what do you do with the iPad on the sideline? You play Words with Friends? Jeez.
I Skype.
I mean, there's a part of me that feels bad for McCarthy, but it's also like it's like this weird perfect storm.
He's getting paid.
I agree.
The entertainment industry.
No, I agree. But at the same time, look, it's like I just think that was like that hire does not make any sense. He doesn't strike me as somebody who would do well in Dallas in that market with Jerry Jones, with all those things. And again, it's so apparent that the NFL has passed him by.
And the thing is, he's not good. And he's not focused.
Aaron Rodgers, he leaves, and Lefluer is 18-4, and he's already been to the NFC Championship game.
Right.
Some of that's luck. Some of that's luck because they were very, very healthy.
Yeah, but this is the same team that he left behind. Come on. What changed?
Yeah, but think about this. He goes to an organization that everybody else makes the decisions for him. They make the player personnel decisions.
He doesn't have to go out in front of the camera and fall on Ted Thompson's sword every day.
Frick no. It's a easy job, and I could see why he was attracted to it.
I don't know about easy, but he does it.
No, what I mean from accountability perspective. As long as you win there, it's super easy because if they fail, you can just point out and say it's Jerry Jones who brought in Andy Dalton or whatever. It's Jerry Jones who refused to sign Dak Prescott to a new contract.
Yeah,
you can just point the finger.
Talk about a guy who made himself some money. Well, only with Dallas though. Other teams are going to be like, I don't know about this, but Dallas, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, that sucks for Prescott. But yeah, it's just weird and. It's like a train wreck every other day. It's like stuff's leaking out there.
Well, we cannot speak of it for the rest of the season.
There you go. This is not the absolute McCarthy pen.
So on to the Vikings. Are we making predictions yet?
We should, I guess.
Well, yeah, we always do.
So from 1-5 team to another, are they 1-5 or 1-6 or
whatever? They're 1.
Did they
one
bench?
Done.
Yeah. Did they bench Kirk Cousins?
No.
I thought they did.
But Kirk Cousins is saying that if he continues to play like he is, he'll be benched himself. So.
Oh God, that's the guy who I'm leading my team.
Right. Yeah.
Get in the huddle. Whew, thanks, guys. I almost got benched after last series.
Yeah.
Back, though. it's look, they're in full rebuild mode. I think that's pretty. I don't think that's like. I don't know if they like purposely sucked, but I mean they're really young, and they traded away or got rid of a bunch of old players. So I think it's pretty plain to see that they're in full blown rebuild mode. What team is going to come out, even if they are, and say like we're in rebuild mode? No team's ever going to say it. You know, their actions will speak for their words, and I think that's what.
Right.
But
all
let's
right,
see.
Rebuild mode Vikings. What do you say, Andy?
I'm going to say 31-17.
Wow. I'm gonna go. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout like you guys think it's gonna be.
What does that constitute a blowout? I guess is that 14 points spread?
31-17. That's a good win. That's a very solid blowout. In the
now
NFL.
again, I'm making this decision based on their paltry record and lack of talent. So
yeah,
true.
Depends. It depends if I see a grape soda this week.
Oh my God.
Rogers and his little trolling.
Oh, he does have a grape soda. That's blackberry. That's blackberry.
It's black cherry, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's purple.
It's Black Betty. Ram-a-lam.
Doesn't matter. It's purple. Purple. God,
all right.
You're so critical.
We're doing predictions. We're not doing reviews of soda.
Ooh.
All right. So what do you think? 3-0.
Ah!
I was gonna say 8-6. God.
Ah, God.
No, I'm gonna say 30-16 Packers.
How is that any different?
I know it's like 1 point different.
No, it's actually it's still a 14-point win. So
I know I was gonna say Goober. That's fine.
I just gotta talk it up. I gotta talk it up.
That's fine.
All right, so I'm gonna go 35-7.
Ooh.
He just went 35-15 last game, so he's sticking with 35.
That's right.
I see what you're doing.
One of these times I'll get it right. I was almost perfect, and then they had to go and let him score.
Is that at home or is that in Minnesota?
No, it's here.
It should be here. I should be at that game, but no, you gotta have a disease.
My word.
Be at the game, but there's got to be a worldwide disease.
Well, hey, and news, the Packers are talking about bringing fans back. So
when?
If you've been outside if you've been outside the stadium, they have all kinds of signs out that talk about face masks, social distancing, washing hands. They have all these COVID signs outside of Lambeau Field.
Oh no,
it's almost eerily like they're setting the future up and they're going to have fans.
Someday
I know,
will
really.
be able to go in the building.
Well, no, the fact that they have signs up all outside of Lambeau Field, it's telling me that they're probably fixing to have fans back at least sometime this year.
Yeah. I bet you they do sometime this year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're going to have another discussion in about a week about whether they're going to have fans or not.
Doesn't matter. So. My parents, they sold their ticket, or they didn't buy their tickets. They
had
the option.
The season ticket, they opted out or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people did. Like
the majority of them did.
I don't know why they did that. They shouldn't have let people do that. I would have bought everybody's tickets.
They should have just they should have said, sorry about the damn disease. Here's your bill.
Right.
They send you a Packers face mask with a bill.
Sad trombone.
And say man up, party time.
Man.
That was great. Man up, Lombardi time.
All right.
I was trying to think like what would Lombardi say during COVID? He's always doing that. Everybody grab and tackle. What would he say about the disease? Everybody breathing on each other, breathing.
I want everybody to get in a huddle, and I want you guys to touch each other. I want you guys to breathe on each other.
What? I don't know what he would do.
I didn't even get to end that. I said touch each other and breathe on each other.
There you go.
You don't get to end that.
Good Lord. Well, we did a lot of laughing. No crying. Hey. Nobody
like last week.
Yeah, nobody cried today.
Well, because you guys cried there in the whole game. Oh my God, we're the worst team of all time.
Oh.
We're only 5-1.
I didn't. I was freaking
What?
camping.
We did get our butts kicked. Now, Tampa Bay, they beat up the Raiders pretty good.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
Get this, though. Guess who is the 1 seed as of today? The Bears!
They're not.
In the NFC?
I saw that
Seriously?
too. What? That's
They
not
are?
a thing.
I'm pretty sure. As of right now, they're the 1 seed.
Oh
How?
my God, please.
Because
How is
they're
that?
winning the division. They beat Tampa Bay.
How are they
Seattle
winning the
lost.
division?
Oh.
How are they winning the division?
Tied, but they beat Tampa Bay. It's when all the time. Look, as of today, with tiebreakers,
Right,
they're
right.
number 1 seed, and that's because Seattle lost.
What game did they lose?
Well, no, they have the tiebreaker over Seattle based off of the best win percentage in conference games. So
they're the 1 seed, Elliot.
Actually, it's kind of deceptive because Chicago has 5 wins in the NFC. Seattle only has 3. So, but they are
the 1 seed as of right today, right?
But
Yeah,
they're
but
one game short of playing the amount of games the Bears played in the NFC. So it's not really a fair comparison. At this
yeah,
point.
there's all sorts of caveats on that. They're not.
Yeah.
We're not going to give Chicago any credit. Okay,
No,
that's not
no.
the point of this podcast.
See, this is what you were doing all day yesterday. Like, what? Come on. This isn't the absolute Bears anything.
Agreed.
God,
And
what
that
is
was
wrong
so
with you?
eloquently said. You know, I mean,
So eloquently said.
the Bears podcast.
The Bears are awful. He goes, oh, the prose and poetry is just outstanding. Brought a tear to my eye.
Who did they lose to? Who did they beat?
Yeah, who did they lose to?
Yeah,
Who?
they're not any good.
The
Who?
Bears.
The Bears? They lost to the Colts at home.
Yeah. Yeah, because they suck.
Love it. All right. Good Lord. What do you think, buddy?
What do you say about that?
What do you think? Like,
Flip them the bird.
All right. Say, did the kitty should do Go Pack Go?
the kitty is annoying me.
Oh, well, yeah, you're annoying me. You're a Bears fan.
I'm not. I'm spouting facts.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's not
That is a fact.
I said as of today. I said as of today. All right, let's end this thing.
Are you
Put
sure?
it out of its misery.
It's like a horse with a broken leg. Put it down.
All right, Go Pack Go.
Send it to the glue factory. All right, go back. Go.
Go Pack Go.
There you go.